Strange animal mating rituals that will blow your mind. We've all got different ways of expressing love, whether that's gifts, doing the chores, complimenting your partner. It's part of who we are and how we impress someone. But how do animals do it? Turns out, animals have a variety of ways too. Some birds might dance or build nests, while bees are willing to die to be with their queen, literally. Today on The Animal Shelter, we're going to take a look at some of the most extreme and bizarre mating rituals animals are willing to perform to find their mate, and some of the dangers these heartthrobs have to go through in the process. Number 8. Anglerfish. Let's head straight into the deep blue seas for our first unusual pairing. There you'll find the Deep-Sea Anglerfish. The males don't just get attached to their mates the way humans do, they fuse with them. The first ever recording of this taking place was posted by Nat Geo WILD in 2018, and it's an eerie, horrifying thing to witness. The male anglerfish, which are usually less than 10 millimeters long, attach to a larger female anglerfish. This process is like a form of sexual parasitism, and for some of the 168 species of anglerfish, it's only temporary. For others, their skin tissues and circulatory systems connect, and the male becomes entirely dependent on the female for nutrients. Typically, this would trigger an autoimmune response in other fish and vertebrate species, but not for the anglerfish. They've got an extremely unique immune system and rely on it to reproduce in this way. Still, how they're able to defend against infections in the deep sea, according to new scientists, remains a mystery. Number 7. Honeybee. Moving on to the insect kingdom, honeybees also have an alarming mating ritual. These male bugs die for love, quite literally, when a queen honeybee enters the hive. After taking a few short test flights, the queen bee goes on a mating flight. The male drones mount the virgin honeybee queen and, after they're finished, pull away, severing themselves in the process. Drones die quickly after mating, their abdomen ripped open. Even if they somehow survive this, they're ejected from the nest, having served their purpose. From there, the queen is in charge of using the millions of sperm she's collected sparingly for the rest of her lifetime, determining whether or not to fertilize her eggs. Unfertilized eggs become drone honeybees, and fertilized eggs develop into female workers and queens. Number 6. Bowerbird. The next animal we're going to talk about today is the bowerbird. While you've probably heard of birds with beautiful colors and elaborate dances, the bowerbird is a home decor natural. Males build, decorate, and maintain bowers, the bird equivalent to the bachelor pad. According to the San Diego Zoo, there are 20 different kinds of bowerbirds in all different colors: gray, olive brown, yellow, black, red, green, and more. And they're most common on the island of New Guinea. Their bowers are as colorful and varied as the birds themselves, with some of them even using the skeletons of brightly colored insects, flowers, snake skins, and stones to try and attract a mate. If a female bowerbird likes their home, then they'll pop by, hear a song and dance from the male, and decide if he's the mate for her. Though bowerbirds' habits used to consist of things in nature, satin bowerbirds have taken to collecting plastic as litter creeps into their environment. Since the color blue isn't commonly found in the wild, blue bottle caps are more and more common in their bachelor pad structures, and blue plastic rings have been known to come off bottle caps and get stuck on the bird's beak and head. If you live in an area with bowerbirds, be sure to cut any blue plastic rings you have in half before disposing of them. You never know what bird might pick it up to try and impress a lady. Number 5. Pufferfish. Next up are pufferfish, called the bowerbirds of the sea by Scientific American. Their mating habits were first noticed in 1995 when divers near Japan noticed underwater crop circles, or strange geometric formations that kept popping up on the seafloor. Turns out, male pufferfish make these circles by flapping their fins along the sand to create the 7-feet formations. That's especially impressive when you consider that pufferfish only measure about 5 inches long. Female pufferfish will lay their eggs in the center of the circle they choose, while the males stay with the eggs, possibly to guard them. In 2013, a new geometric pattern emerged with radially aligned ridges, fragments of shells outside the circle, and fine sediments collected to give the formation a more distinctive look. Seems male pufferfish are stepping up their game. These circles can take a week to 9 days to make, despite being short-lived. Since they aren't maintained the way that bowerbirds spruce up their structures, currents wash them away pretty quickly. Number 4. Octopus. Octopuses have a pretty strange way of mating, mostly because of the dangers involved. Common octopus will spread themselves out to appear large and may display their suckers to females who might decide to attack and eat them. A male day octopus will tower over a potential mate, then flash a pattern of black stripes across his body to a female. The Octopus aculeatus has the most complex ritual yet. A male will guard a female near her den and fight any other male octopuses that pass by. Some male octopuses will match their body color to a female's in order to creep into the den to avoid being attacked. The smaller male octopuses try to mate from a distance or mount from the back to give them time to get away if their larger female mate decides to turn cannibalistic. Males have a third right arm with sperm grooves on it, and once their sperm packets are deposited, it breaks off. Within a few months, the male usually dies, and the females store these packets until they're ready to lay eggs. The large Pacific-striped octopus does break these rules. The females don't attack and eat the males, and mating happens mouth to mouth and sucker to sucker. Otherwise, male octopuses generally get the short end of the tentacle here when it comes to the mating game. Number 3. Nursery Web Spider. Nursery Web Spiders are one of the best mates. They bring gifts. Males will capture a fly or some insect, spin a cocoon around it, then offer it to the female. However, these female spiders take their time. Sometimes they aren't ready to mate and threaten their suitors, chasing them away, or a male might have to offer her multiple gifts before it's accepted. Though this was once thought of as a show of parental investment, CBC claims that scientists now believe this gift is actually more of a peace offering, meant to keep the female from eating him. Male spiders will occasionally spin a web around females too, like a little rope, in order to keep their distance. Once a gift is accepted, a female will transfer her eggs into a cocoon around her abdomen. She carries this sac around until it's time to hatch, then forms a nursery web with leaves where her spiders can molt, hence the name Nursery Web Spider. Number 2. Bird of Paradise. The Vogelkopf's superb bird of paradise, recently discovered in New Guinea, has a gorgeous and eerie courtship dance. Their stunning black feathers look like a face, and the electric blue one forms what looks like eyes and a frown. At first, the Vogelkopf bird was mistaken for the superb bird of paradise, to whom they bear a striking resemblance. The only difference is that the superb bird forms an oval shape when they display their feathers, while the Vogelkopf bird forms a crescent. In this form, the Vogelkopf bird will circle a potential mate, whereas the superb bird will bounce in their courting dance. Not only is the face that these two birds of paradise create enchanting, but their feathers absorb almost 100% of the light hitting them, meaning they have some of the blackest colorings on Earth. The Vogelkopf and Superb also have different songs, which solidified their differences to researchers. The Vogelkopf has a pleasant tonal call, and the Superb makes a loud squawking noise. Either one of them is fascinating though, and as one of the Vogelkopf's discoverers put it, one of the holy grails of birding. Number 1. Lovebirds. As you can imagine based on name alone, lovebirds are sickeningly sweet with one another. A male will regurgitate food and feed a female to woo her and to win her trust and attraction. Sometimes they'll preen each other, and eventually the female will start displaying nesting behavior. She'll shred paper into strips with her beak and put them in her back, and her mate can even attempt to imitate these actions too. Finally, when they're ready to be together, the male lovebird will make clicking sounds and climb onto her back. The female will open her wings to balance his weight, and the mating follows, often repeated several times a day. But that's not the end of the relationship for lovebirds. They'll eat together, play together, continue to preen one another, and even be sad without the other. Truly, lovebirds aren't meant to be separated once they're mates, as they can get quite lonely and upset when that happens. Although they won't literally die of a broken heart, as some myths would have you believe, they can appear extremely distressed all the same. That's it for our list of unique and bizarre animal mating rituals. We really hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for tuning back in. Be sure to let us know which one was your favorite down below, or if you know of any other interesting mating rituals we might have missed. Subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Next, you can check out our pics for the most adorable baby animals.